Welcome back to Velvet Moon. Today, we are performing an autopsy on a genre. For nearly 20 years, the stories of Bella Swan and Elena Gilbert have been the gold standard for the chosen one in supernatural romance. We have debated Team Edward versus Team Jacob and Stefan versus Damon. We have labeled these girls as weak, passive, or obsessed. But what if we have been looking at them through the wrong lens? What if I told you that the epic romances of Twilight and the Vampire Diaries are not actually stories of love, but symptoms of profound, unhealed grief? If we strip away the slow-motion glances, the orchestral scores, and the shimmering skin, a darker psychological blueprint emerges. These girls didn't fall for monsters because of destiny or fate. They chose them as a permanent shield against a world that had already broken them before the story even began. Today, we are reframing the supernatural romance through a trauma-informed lens. We are looking at the foundations of fragility, the moments childhood stability shattered for both girls, leaving them psychologically unhoned. Because before the first bite, Elena and Bella were already rewired by loss to seek the impossible. Section 1. Elena Gilbert and the Void of the Bridge. Let's start with Elena Gilbert. Most viewers remember the start of the Vampire Diaries as the moment Stefan Salvatore walked into Mystic Falls High. But for Elena, the story truly began months earlier, in the freezing water under Wickery Bridge. Elena is defined by survivor's guilt. It is the invisible passenger in every scene she inhabits. In the pilot episode, we see her writing in a graveyard. This isn't just a moody aesthetic, it is a literal representation of where her psyche resides. She is a girl who died on that bridge with her parents, even if her heart kept beating. When a person experiences a trauma that sudden and that total, the literal drowning of their biological safety net, the world stops being a place of growth. It becomes a place of unpredictable tragedy. For Elena, the human world is a place where you can be laughing in a car 1 second and gasping for air in a watery grave the next. This creates a subconscious, desperate need to freeze her world in place. When Stefan Salvatore enters her life, Elena doesn't just see a handsome stranger. She sees a creature that is fundamentally static. A vampire is the ultimate defiance of the bridge. Stefan cannot drown. He cannot age. He cannot get sick. And most importantly, he cannot leave her through the natural process of death. By choosing Stefan, Elena's subconscious mind is attempting a radical form of self-preservation. She is trying to ensure that she never has to experience that bridge moment again. She isn't looking for a boyfriend, she is looking for a biological anchor. Section 2. Bella Swan and the depleted self now. Let's look at Bella Swan. Her trauma is often overlooked because it doesn't involve a car crash or a funeral, but it is equally destructive. In the opening of Twilight, Bella moves to Forks from Phoenix. We are told she is mature for her age. In psychology, we have a name for this: parentification. In Phoenix, Bella lived in a state of parental role reversal. She was the one managing the bills, the laundry, and the emotional instability of her mother, Renee. While other children were developing a sense of self through play and exploration, Bella was developing a sense of self through service and caretaking. She became an adult before she was ever allowed to be a child. This left Bella with a depleted self. She views her own human needs as a burden. She sees human frailty, the need for sleep, the susceptibility to injury, the inevitability of aging, not as a natural part of life, but as a weakness to be loathed. This is why she is so comfortable in the role of the martyr. She has been practicing self-sacrifice her entire life. When Bella enters the world of the Cullens, she isn't just looking for romance. She is craving a fortress. The Cullens represent a permanent, unbreakable patriarchal structure. They are the ultimate security. They have infinite wealth, infinite physical power, and they exist outside the unreliable timeline of human existence. For Bella, becoming a vampire isn't about losing her soul. It's about gaining a body that can finally stop being tired. It is a calculated escape from the vulnerability of being the caretaker in a world that offers no care in return. Section 3. The rejection of the aging world. Both Elena and Bella share a striking trait, a profound disconnect from their human peers. Think about the characters like Matt Donovan or Mike Newton. They represent the real world. They represent college, career, marriage, aging, and eventually, to a trauma survivor who is desperate for stasis, these human boys are terrifying. Why date someone who will eventually get gray hair and die? To Elena and Bella, human peers are reminders of the ticking clock. They represent the unreliable world that they no longer trust. When Elena chooses the 107-year-old Stefan, or Bella chooses the century-old Edward, they are opting out of the human timeline entirely. The supernatural transition is, at its core, a psychological fix for the grief-induced anxiety of losing loved ones to time. It is the only environment where these women feel safe from further change. They are unhomed orphans looking for a house made of stone and immortality, a place where the door is locked against the concept of goodbye. Section 4. The symbolism of the frozen state. To understand why Elena and Bella are so drawn to the frozen nature of vampires, we have to look at the concept of temporal anxiety. For a survivor of sudden loss, time is the enemy. Every second that passes is a second closer to the next catastrophe. In the Vampire Diaries, Elena's life is a constant cycle of losing people. Every time she gains a sense of normalcy, it is ripped away. This is why the frozen state of Stefan and Damon is so seductive. It isn't just about their looks, it's about the fact that they are biological monuments. They are fixed points in a chaotic universe. When Elena looks at Stefan, she sees a man who has looked exactly the same since 1864. In a world where her parents can disappear in an afternoon, that 150-year consistency is the ultimate drug. In the books, Elena often describes herself as feeling empty or shattered. Her attraction to the supernatural is a form of external regulation, since she cannot regulate her own internal world, which is filled with the noise of grief. When Anja Sanjas, second Anja Sanjas, the vampire isn't just a lover, he is a sedative. He is the white noise that drowns out the screams of her own survivor's guilt. Section 5. Bella's Fortress of Solitude and the Cullens. Now, let's pivot back to Bella Swan and the Cullens. One of the most controversial aspects of Twilight is Bella's immediate and total abandonment of her human life. Critics call this bad writing or toxic codependency. But through a trauma-informed lens, it is a classic avoidant attachment response. Bella doesn't just want Edward, she wants the Cullen system. Notice how she reacts when she first enters the Cullen house. She is obsessed with their permanence. The graduation caps on the wall, the centuries of history, the indestructible nature of their skin. To Bella, the human body is a prison of vulnerability. She describes her own clumsiness, her tendency to bruise and fall, not as a quirk, but as a source of deep shame, because in her childhood in Phoenix, vulnerability meant failure. If Bella was weak, her mother suffered. If Bella was sick, the house fell apart. She has been conditioned to believe that her human needs are a liability. When she sees the Cullens, she sees the ultimate defense. They are a fortress. By joining them, she isn't just finding love, she's enlisting in an army that can protect her from the aging and dying world she so deeply fears. Her rejection of human peers, like Mike Newton or Eric Yorkie, is a rejection of the unreliable narrator of life. Human boys represent uncertainty. They represent the possibility of divorce, of cancer, of midlife crises. Edward, being frozen at 17, offers a guarantee. He is a contract written in stone. Bella's relentless pursuit of the bite is her attempt to sign that contract and close the door on the terrifying world of human change. Section 6. The psychologically unhomed orphan. We need to address the eternal orphan archetype. Both Elena and Bella, despite having living guardians like Aunt Jenna or Charlie Swan, function as orphans. They do not feel at home in the traditional sense. Elena's house in Mystic Falls is a museum of what she lost. Bella's room in Forks is a temporary transit station. This sense of being unhomed creates a psychological void. When you don't have a stable foundation, you seek the most extreme version of stability available. In a world of humans, that doesn't exist. So, they look to the supernatural. The vampire nest, or coven, becomes the replacement for the shattered biological family. The intensity of their romances, the "I can't live without you" energy, is actually the desperate cry of a child who has already lost their world once and refuses to lose it again. Every time Bella worries about Edward leaving, she isn't just worrying about a breakup. She is re-triggering the abandonment she felt as a child caretaker in Phoenix. Every time Elena clings to Stefan during a crisis, she is trying to undo the moment she couldn't save her parents from the car. Section 7. The pathology of protection and the desire to die. One of the most striking, and perhaps disturbing, parallels between Elena and Bella is their relationship with their own mortality. In traditional romances, the goal is to build a life. In these stories, the goal is often to end the human life to start something better. Let's look at Bella's relentless pursuit of transformation. In New Moon, when Edward leaves, Bella doesn't just experience a breakup, she experiences a total psychological collapse. She seeks out danger motorcycles, cliff jumping, not because she wants to die, but because she wants to summon the ghost of her protector. This is a trauma response known as reenactment. She is intentionally placing herself in a position of vulnerability to force a supernatural intervention. To Bella, death as a human is the only way to achieve life as an indestructible entity. She views the transformation as a calculated escape from the physical vulnerability of a body that can be bruised, broken, or abandoned. Her willingness to die to become a vampire is actually a survival strategy used to mitigate the fear of future abandonment. If she is a vampire, she is on equal footing with the fortress. She is no longer the fragile thing that can be left behind. Similarly, Elena Gilbert's self-sacrificial tendencies in the Vampire Diaries are often framed as nobility. But if we look closer, it is a control mechanism. By being the one who offers to die for her friends and family, Elena is trying to control the narrative of who dies next. Having lost her parents so unexpectedly, she cannot handle the randomness of death. If she chooses to sacrifice herself, she is the one in the driver's seat. It is a way of reclaiming agency in a world where she previously had none. Section 8. Modern Echoes. The search for the unshakable. Why do these archetypes, the eternal orphans, seeking a static protector, remain so culturally dominant in 2026? Why is Velvet Moon still dissecting these stories decades later? It's because Elena and Bella's psychological blueprints are mirrors of our own current collective instability. We live in a world where the human systems we once trusted, the economy, the environment, the social contracts, feel as unreliable as a car on Wickery Bridge. Like Bella and Elena, many of us feel psychologically unhomed. The search for unshakable safety is a universal human pursuit, especially in times of crisis. These stories resonate not because we want a boyfriend with fangs, but because we want a life that is immune to the unreliable nature of time. We crave the permanent shield. We want to believe that there is a fortress, a Cullen house or a Salvatore boarding school where the doors can be locked and we never have to say goodbye to anyone ever again. When we view these icons through a trauma-informed lens, the legacy of the supernatural romance genre changes. It stops being about young adult angst and starts being a profound exploration of how we process grief. Bella and Elena are not just girls in love. They are architects of their own survival. They chose immortality because mortality had already broken their hearts. As we close this first chapter, we have to ask, at what cost does this static safety come? By freezing their worlds to avoid the pain of loss, what parts of their humanity did they have to discard? They didn't fall for the monsters because they were bad girls or because they liked the danger. They chose the monsters because the monsters were the only ones who could promise them that tomorrow would look exactly like today. For a girl who has lost everything, exactly like today is the most beautiful promise in the world. But safety is a double-edged sword. In our next episode, we will move from the foundations of fragility to the magnetic pull of the static. We will break down the power dynamics of these relationships and explore how Elena and Bella use their own trauma as a form of currency to buy their way into the supernatural world. We will ask the hard question, is a life without change actually a life at all? Or is it just a very beautiful, very permanent tomb? This is Velvet Moon. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the shadows of the stories we thought we knew. I'll see you in part 2.